We are in Red Bluff, California at the moment, and it's early morning, and we're going to take a flight just a little bit north up to Redding, California, and we're going to do it by using a VOR, which stands for Very High Frequency Omnidirectional Range, and somehow they shortened that to VOR. It is pretty much the standard in how to get from one area to another navigating in airplanes. It has been reduced a little bit because of the advent of GPS being used so widely, but it's still there. They've gone from like 1,000 and some VOR stations down to 963 or so in the United States. But it's still a viable way to get from point A to point B, especially if you don't have a GPS put in your plane, which are kind of expensive. This plane is a Cessna 150L, and it does not have a GPS unit in it. It has two VOR operations, and that's it. So we're going to learn how to go from point A, which is Red Bluff, to Redding, which is point B, just using the VOR. So let's get started on it. Let's give ourselves some power. And let's look at the map. The map has us here at Red Bluff, and Redding is up here, and that is the VOR, and we will be heading that direction to it. So let's go back here to Red Bluff, and we figure we're going to be doing, if I had a straight edge, probably somewhere around 3,400 or the 340 degrees instead of 3,400. 340 degrees or so, heading that direction. So let's get back into the cockpit, and let's put on our beacon. Let's give ourselves full rich, a little bit of throttle, a little bit of carb heat. It's been primed, and we're going to start her up. Okay, we got the motor started. Now let's look at the map again. Where we're going to is the Redding VOR DME. It has an identifier of RDD, and if you actually went onto the radio and punched in 108.4 and popped the ident out, oops, that in Morse code is the identifier RDD. Now I don't do Morse code, so we're not going to listen to that for long. This is the Nav1 controller, and right now we've got 108.4 in there. If we had put it in, it would be in the standby slot, and you have to push this button here in order to get it to move to the current spot. Looking at this is the VOR meter gauge, whatever, and notice here it says 2. We want to make sure it's at the 2. If you turn this, you notice the needle moves around. And if you go too far, watch the to, that'll change to from. And what you want to do is to move this until you get to and the needle is centered. Oops, went too far. Okay, the needle is centered and it's right at about I guess 339, something like that. 338, I'd say. So 338 degrees. What we want to do is we want to come over here, calibrate our heading indicator. And what you want to do is you want to match the heading indicator to what the OBS says on the VOR gauge. So that's 338. We want to get it at right about 338. Maybe a little bit more. Right about there. Okay, so basically we're set as far as frequency and also the radial that we're going to be tracking. It does say 2, so let's get ourselves here and we will taxi out to the runway.
Tower 671 Whiskey Mike, 2500 width on the visual for 317. 671 Whiskey Mike, Miller Tower, descending discretion, run 317, clear to land. Okay, descend our discretion, being clear to land 317.
See, we got 7 mile per hour wind from the north. So we'll go down to the south end here.
South on Whiskey Mike, turn left on my 4 left, if you got it. Cross 31 left, and ground 165 today. Whiskey Mike, what's up? Southwest 1254 Miller Tower, my 317 off and wait, 10 minutes to the runway section. I'm from wait to 317, Southwest 1254. Turn left heading 250, runway 31 center, clear for takeoff. Takeoff 31 center, turn 250, Southwest 1250.
This looks like a nice hill for sledding in a winter. It's actually kind of steep. I have no idea if that's real or not. This is a stock airport with Orbix Northern California scenery, which of course includes a mesh, so I suppose it's sort of correct.
Flight 2134, taxi Mike, Quebec, signature remain the certain 6. Mike, Quebec, remain this frequency, Angel Flight 2134, thanks.
right, let's get ourselves ready here.
So 1650 traffic 2 mile file to the crossing runway, wind 340.
Strobes on, landing light on. Okie doke. Gradually add in the power. Get lined up. Airspeed is alive. And rotate. Okay, you can see the needle is where it should be. It's on the middle. Just to show you, if I move it around, you can see that it does move. So let's get it back to the normal spot. Oop. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the autopilot, and we want to have it in navigation track. Click it. That gets it going, and we are now headed, hopefully, in the right direction. Coming up on 2,000 feet. Now, I noticed that the needle is a little bit off to the side, but the plane should figure that out and get everything straight. Come back on the throttle. Give it a little down trim. I'm going to shoot for 100-knot cruise. Right around 100, got a little bit of down. See if it pops up, see if we can get it right around 0. It looks pretty good. So we're going to fly for a while here, and I'll just let you enjoy the flight. And we'll be back when it comes time for us to land. Should be only about 10 minutes or so. In the meantime, enjoy the flight, and we'll do some looking around at all the pretty scenery. Oh, that doesn't look that pretty, does it? Okay, we're coming into the outskirts of Reading now. And let's see if we can see the airport in the distance. I believe that's it over here. We'll have to wait and get a little bit closer to see for sure. Needle is still looking good. We're right on track. Pretty busy highway. And that is indeed the airport out there. Coming in at a little bit of an angle to it, which is okay. I'll just leave it on the autopilot for now. Kind of funny, in this airplane you can move these sunglasses to your face. Makes it cut down the brightness. This town, Reading, must be an area for electricity production. It's just got tons of high tension wires. Okay, I think we're close enough, so we're going to deactivate the autopilot. And let's get ourselves lined up with the runway. A little turn here. Also turn on the landing light. Come down off the tower a little bit. And we're going to use the trim to set our airspeed at about 75, 80 knots. Come back on the tower, give it a little bit more trim up. We're at 80, a little bit more up trim. There's the runway. I'm going to add in half flaps. A little bit up trim, get it a little bit slower, reason you use up trim to get your airspeed is because using your elevator can put you into a situation where you're primed for a stall, and if you use your elevator trim to get the airspeed along with the throttle to get the airspeed where you want it as an approach speed, which for this airplane is about 70 miles an hour, then you can just use throttle in order to change your rate of descent or rate of ascent. We're a little bit high here, I think. So every time I come off of the throttle, it's going to stay right around 70 miles per hour. And that way you don't get yourself into a stall situation. So when you're coming in for a landing, try to use only throttle to modify your altitude. Looking good so far. Add a little bit of throttle. Just little bits of movement on the throttle can make a difference. I know we've got some high tension wires here we have to clear. I have not touched the elevator since I adjusted it for 70 miles per hour. Coming off the power, and notice it stays right around 70 knots. This is how you get your greasy landings. And I better get one if I mentioned it. Okay, I'm going to pull back on the elevator to flare. Cut power. We're down. Bring up the flaps, brakes. And we want to turn off strobe and landing light.